Welcome to our channel, The Story of Civilization, where we explore the wonders of general world history. If you enjoy learning about the past, watch the full video and make sure to subscribe, like, and leave a comment below. Don't forget to press the bell icon so you never miss an update. Today, we will explore the mysterious Sea Peoples. Let's start with a brief overview before diving into the details. In the annals of ancient history, few mysteries remain as unsolved and tantalizing as the legend of the Sea Peoples. Who were these enigmatic invaders that stormed the shores of Egypt, Anatolia, and the Levant, leaving behind destruction and chaos? Were they ruthless conquerors, or were they simply desperate survivors fleeing a world on the brink of collapse? The Sea Peoples were the ultimate outsiders, an ancient force whose origins remain shrouded in mystery. Some say they were a loose coalition of displaced tribes from the Aegean, while others suggest they were remnants of a once great empire, seeking to reclaim their lost glory. But the truth may be far more shocking than any theory yet proposed. As we delve deeper into the untold stories of their violent invasions, we uncover a chilling truth: the Sea Peoples may have been the agents of an ancient apocalypse. Their attacks didn't just bring down individual cities or kingdoms. They may have been the spark that triggered the fall of the entire Bronze Age civilization. But were they really invaders, or were they fleeing a cataclysmic event that they themselves had no control over? Was their attack on Egypt a final stand for survival, or a calculated plan to rise from the ashes of their shattered world? The mysterious records left behind by ancient Egyptians offer tantalizing clues, but also raise more questions. Could the Sea Peoples have been trying to warn the world of an even greater threat lurking beyond the horizon? Join us as we unravel the legend of the Sea Peoples, from their mysterious origins to their explosive rise and sudden disappearance. Through ancient texts, archaeological evidence, and modern theories, we uncover the truth behind one of history's most enduring puzzles. Prepare for a story of betrayal, survival, and the shocking twist that might change everything we thought we knew about the downfall of the ancient world. 1. The mysterious arrival. Out of the darkened horizon, like phantoms rising from the depths of myth, the Sea Peoples make their first terrifying appearance. Their ships, colossal and foreboding, cut through the waters, their sails billowing ominously against the gray skies. The air crackles with an unsettling tension, as though the very sea itself is rebelling against their presence. For years, the kingdoms of Egypt and Anatolia had heard only whispers, faint rumors of an unknown threat. Until these enigmatic invaders materialize, bringing with them destruction and chaos. Their sudden arrival marks the beginning of an era of uncertainty. No one knows where they have come from, or even what to call them. Some speculate they are wandering raiders, others believe they are the remnants of a once great empire, now broken and seeking revenge. Their ships bear strange symbols, and their warriors are clad in foreign armor, speaking a language no one understands. Their ferocity in battle is unmatched, leaving entire coastal cities in ruins, as though they were wiped out by a storm, but one that bears no mercy. The once thriving cities of the eastern Mediterranean, Troy, Mycenae, and Ugarit, fall victim to their unrelenting assault, their walls crumbling beneath the weight of an unknown, unstoppable force. In every corner of the ancient world, a sense of dread spreads like wildfire. Whispers fill the streets. Are they conquerors come to claim what remains of these crumbling empires, or are they survivors of a cataclysmic event fleeing a fate far worse than anyone could imagine? But their true motives remain as elusive as the wind, hidden behind their violent raids and unexplained destruction. It is not until a lone survivor, a soldier from the wreckage of one of the ravaged cities, is found clinging to life that the first clue emerges. His journal, ink smudged with blood and desperation, reveals a devastating truth: the Sea Peoples are not invaders, they are refugees, fleeing an apocalyptic disaster that destroyed their homeland. But the more the survivor writes, the more he uncovers a secret too terrible to imagine: the Sea Peoples may have been the unwitting agents of their own world's collapse. And with their arrival, the fate of the entire Mediterranean hangs in the balance. 2. A hidden legacy. The sun beats relentlessly on the vast, unforgiving sands of the Egyptian desert as Alara, a young and ambitious archaeologist, ventures further into the desolate landscape. Her journey, initially one of mere curiosity, leads her to an ancient site long thought to be a mere legend, a forgotten temple buried deep in the heart of the desert, hidden from the eyes of the world for millennia. The temple's weathered walls are covered in intricate carvings, but it is not the artistry that draws Alara's gaze, it is the symbols, strange and foreboding, that seem to whisper of something long lost to history. With trembling hands, Alara uncovers a hidden chamber, its entrance concealed beneath layers of sand and stone. Inside, she finds a series of weathered tablets, their surface etched with symbols she can barely comprehend. But as she deciphers the ancient script, her heart races in horror. The Sea Peoples, the very scourge of the Mediterranean, are not the merciless invaders the world has believed them to be. The tablets speak of a prophecy, a warning from a time long before their arrival, telling of a people forced to flee from an unspeakable catastrophe that ravaged their homeland. These invaders, once thought to be conquerors, are revealed to be refugees, survivors of a world teetering on the brink of destruction. The Sea Peoples were not the cause of the downfall of the Bronze Age civilizations, they were victims, torn from their land by forces beyond their control. Their arrival was not the beginning of the end, but rather the tragic culmination of a civilization already crumbling beneath the weight of an ancient, unstoppable force. The tablets hint at a great cosmic alignment, an event that had set into motion the fall of entire cultures, and the Sea Peoples were simply the last to suffer its devastating effects. As Alara pieces together the fragments of the prophecy, a chilling realization dawns on her: the catastrophe the Sea Peoples fled from was not just a natural disaster. It was the result of a long-hidden truth, a truth that the powers of Egypt would do anything to keep buried. But the more she uncovers, the more dangerous her discovery becomes. When she attempts to share her findings with the world, dark forces, powerful individuals with ties to the highest echelons of Egyptian society, move quickly to silence her. The forces that seek to protect the ancient secret will stop at nothing to ensure that Alara's discovery is erased from history forever. Now, Alara must choose. Will she continue to uncover the truth and risk her life, or will she bow to the powerful enemies who seek to bury the past? 3. The Forbidden Alliance, rewritten. In the heart of Egypt's crumbling empire, Pharaoh Rameses III stands as the last symbol of Egypt's once mighty glory. His reign, overshadowed by the rising threat of the Sea Peoples, is a battle for survival. With his empire on the brink of collapse, Rameses, a ruler hardened by years of warfare and intrigue, faces an uncertain future. Desperate to protect his kingdom, he forms an uneasy alliance with a mysterious sea captain named Chariot, a figure who promises knowledge that could turn the tide against the Sea Peoples. Chariot, a tall, commanding presence with the weathered face of a seasoned warrior, appears seemingly out of nowhere, his knowledge of the Sea Peoples' tactics and history seemingly unmatched. He speaks with authority about their origins and their motivations, and his insights into the Sea Peoples' strength seem to offer the last hope for Egypt's survival. His words, though cryptic at times, draw Rameses in. He is a man who knows secrets that could save Egypt, and Rameses, desperate for a victory, places his trust in him. As their alliance deepens, so too does the relationship between Rameses and Chariot. They share war councils late into the night, forging plans to repel the invaders, but there is an unspoken tension between them, a flicker of distrust that cannot be ignored. Chariot speaks often of his own past, but his stories are vague, filled with half-truths and missing pieces. His manner is too perfect, too composed, too carefully orchestrated to be entirely trustworthy. One evening, Rameses stumbles upon a forbidden text hidden within the royal archives, a document that speaks of a prince from a distant kingdom who was thought to have died in battle years ago. The prince's name, Chariot. Shocked, Rameses delves deeper, uncovering a shocking revelation. Chariot was once a royal heir of a rival kingdom, a man who had vanished after the fall of his people, their kingdom obliterated by forces beyond comprehension. Was Chariot truly a fallen prince, or had he been sent by the Sea Peoples themselves, a sleeper agent tasked with bringing Egypt to its knees from within? As the truth begins to unravel, Rameses is faced with a devastating question. Can he trust the very man he has come to rely on to defend his kingdom, or is Chariot a wolf in sheep's clothing, using his position to infiltrate and destroy Egypt's final defense? As the two men grow closer, the lines between ally and enemy blur, and Rameses must navigate a treacherous web of lies, deception, and betrayal, unsure whether the man at his side is the key to his salvation, or the harbinger of Egypt's downfall. 3. The Forbidden Alliance. In the heart of Egypt's crumbling empire, Pharaoh Rameses III stands as the last symbol of Egypt's once mighty glory. His reign, overshadowed by the rising threat of the Sea Peoples, is a battle for survival. With his empire on the brink of collapse, Rameses, a ruler hardened by years of warfare and intrigue, faces an uncertain future. Desperate to protect his kingdom, he forms an uneasy alliance with a mysterious sea captain named Chariot, a figure who promises knowledge that could turn the tide against the Sea Peoples. Chariot, a tall, commanding presence with the weathered face of a seasoned warrior, appears seemingly out of nowhere, his knowledge of the Sea Peoples' tactics and history seemingly unmatched. He speaks with authority about their origins and their motivations, and his insights into the Sea Peoples' strength seem to offer the last hope for Egypt's survival. His words, though cryptic at times, draw Rameses in. He is a man who knows secrets that could save Egypt, and Rameses, desperate for a victory, places his trust in him. As their alliance deepens, so too does the relationship between Rameses and Chariot. They share war councils late into the night, forging plans to repel the invaders, but there is an unspoken tension between them, a flicker of distrust that cannot be ignored. Carrick speaks often of his own past, but his stories are vague, filled with half-truths and missing pieces. His manner is too perfect, too composed, too carefully orchestrated to be entirely trustworthy. One evening, Rameses stumbles upon a forbidden text hidden within the royal archives, a document that speaks of a prince from a distant kingdom who was thought to have died in battle years ago. The prince's name, Carrick. Shocked, Rameses delves deeper, uncovering a shocking revelation. Carrick was once a royal heir of a rival kingdom, a man who had vanished after the fall of his people, their kingdom obliterated by forces beyond comprehension. Was Carrick truly a fallen prince, or had he been sent by the sea peoples themselves, a sleeper agent tasked with bringing Egypt to its knees from within? As the truth begins to unravel, Rameses is faced with a devastating question. Can he trust the very man he has come to rely on to defend his kingdom, or is Carrick a wolf in sheep's clothing, using his position to infiltrate and destroy Egypt's final defense? As the two men grow closer, the lines between ally and enemy blur, and Rameses must navigate a treacherous web of lies, deception, and betrayal, unsure whether the man at his side is the key to his salvation, or the harbinger of Egypt's downfall. 4. The betrayal of trust. In the midst of the chaos left by the sea people's violent raids, a figure emerges from the smoke and rubble, Kalos, a warrior of the sea peoples, disheveled and broken but alive. He claims to be the last of his kind, a survivor of a people whose existence was nearly wiped out by forces beyond their control. His arrival, unexpected and enigmatic, draws the attention of Alara, whose discoveries about the sea peoples have already set her on a dangerous path. Kalos's presence is both a gift and a curse. He possesses knowledge that could illuminate the true purpose of the sea peoples, knowledge that could reshape everything the world believes about their motives. But as Kalos slowly unravels the secrets of his people's past, a darker truth begins to surface. The sea peoples are not merely refugees, they are the survivors of an ancient catastrophe. A cataclysmic event that was, in part, caused by a deadly force they could neither understand nor escape. Alara is drawn to Kalos, his strength and resolve resonating deeply with her. What begins as a partnership founded on shared curiosity soon blossoms into something more, and the two grow close. They exchange secrets, share vulnerabilities, and, over time, Kalos finds his heart entangled in a way he never expected. For the first time since the destruction of his homeland, Kalos feels something akin to hope. Alara becomes a symbol of that hope, a chance at a future beyond the shadows of his past. But just as Kalos begins to trust Alara with his deepest fears, the truth he uncovers shatters everything. In a moment of painful clarity, he discovers that Alara's father, the revered archaeologist and scholar who had always guided her path, was not just an innocent researcher. He was one of the key figures who had uncovered and unleashed the catastrophic forces that led to the destruction of the sea people's homeland. The devastation that Kalos's people fled from had been precipitated by the very man Alara had trusted and admired. Alara's father had unearthed forbidden knowledge, unlocking a chain of events that led to the rise of a cataclysmic power, a power that had torn the sea people's world apart and left them to wander as broken survivors. This revelation strikes Kalos like a spear to the heart. How can he reconcile his love for Alara with the truth that her family's actions may have been directly responsible for the ruin of his people? Kalos stands at a crossroads, torn between his loyalty to the memory of his fallen kin and his growing affection for Alara. As the weight of the betrayal settles upon him, he must choose. Will he expose the truth, risking the fragile bond he's built with Alara, or will he bury his pain, continuing to help her unravel the mysteries of the past while bearing the secret that could destroy everything they fought for? 5. The Great Revelation. Alara sits in the dimly lit chamber of the royal archives, the weight of centuries pressing down on her as she carefully examines the ancient tablet. The surface is cracked, worn by time, but the symbols, once unintelligible, begin to fall into place with eerie clarity. Her heart pounds in her chest as she realizes that what she has just uncovered is more terrifying than she could have ever imagined. The sea peoples were not simply invaders, as the world had long believed. They were harbingers of something far darker, a celestial event, foretold in the ancient prophecies, that would bring about the end of the world as it was known. The tablet speaks of a cosmic alignment, a rare and ominous convergence of stars and planets that occurs once every millennia. This alignment, the tablet warns, has the power to unravel the fabric of reality itself. The sea peoples, far from being the instigators of destruction, had arrived not to conquer, but to escape. Their homeland had been torn apart by this cataclysm, a result of the celestial forces that had been set in motion long before their time. As Alara deciphers the text, she realizes that the sea people's invasion was not a random act of violence, it was the desperate flight of a people fleeing a world-ending disaster. The civilizations of the Bronze Age had not fallen due to the cruelty of these so-called invaders, but because of the cosmic event that had shaken the very foundations of existence. The Sea Peoples had not come to destroy, they had come to warn the world of an impending doom that no one had been prepared for. With the weight of this revelation pressing down on her, Ilara's mind races. She must expose this truth, not just for her own sake, but for the survival of all who remain. But as she prepares to make her discovery public, the shadows that have lurked in the background for so long finally reveal themselves. Those who have long sought to control the past and manipulate history, those who fear what the truth could unleash, move swiftly to silence her. In a brutal twist, Ilara is captured, her findings ripped from her grasp by powerful forces determined to bury the truth forever. The very people who should have been her allies. The scholars, the royal officials, the powers of Egypt, are the ones who now seek to erase her and her discovery from history. The truth, they fear, could unravel everything they've worked to control. As Ilara is dragged away, the tablet clenched tightly in her hands, she realizes that the battle for humanity's survival is no longer just about fighting the Sea Peoples or defending Egypt. It is about fighting those who would rather let the world end in darkness than see the truth exposed. In the depths of her captivity, Ilara must now find a way to escape, to preserve the knowledge that could save them all, or doom them to the same fate that the Sea Peoples tried, and failed, to warn them about. 6. The rebirth of a lost empire. As Egypt teeters on the brink of collapse, its great walls slowly crumbling under the weight of internal strife and relentless invasions, the air is thick with desperation. Pharaoh Rameses III, once a mighty ruler, finds himself battling not only the Sea Peoples at his gates but the corruption and betrayal within his own court. The empire that had stood for millennia is now a shadow of its former self, its glory fading into the annals of history. But just when it seems that Egypt's fall is inevitable, a figure emerges from the shadows, a woman whose presence is as captivating as it is mysterious. She appears in the heart of the desert, riding a swift and powerful steed, her eyes burning with determination. Her name is Selene, and she claims to be the rightful heir to a kingdom long lost to the ravages of time. This kingdom, she insists, holds the key to stopping the Sea Peoples, a power that Egypt's rulers have long since forgotten. Selene's words are compelling, her knowledge of ancient rituals and lost artifacts enough to make even Rameses pause. She speaks of a hidden legacy, a powerful force sealed away in the ruins of her fallen empire, a force that can turn the tide against the Sea Peoples and bring about a new dawn for Egypt. Rameses, desperate for any means of victory, agrees to work with her, though his pride keeps him cautious, wary of her true intentions. Together, they begin to uncover the lost secrets of Selene's people, secrets that have been buried for centuries. Rameses puts aside his pride, acknowledging that only by uniting with Selene can Egypt hope to survive. But just as the two grow closer, as they prepare for their final stand against the Sea Peoples, Selene reveals a devastating truth, one that shakes Rameses to his core. Selene is not just the rightful heir of a lost empire. She is Kalos's sister, the woman believed to have died in the final days of her kingdom's destruction. Kalos, the warrior who had fought alongside Ilara, who had opened his heart to her, had never known the truth. His sister, the last of their royal bloodline, had survived the fall of their homeland. She had escaped the cataclysm that had torn their world apart, and now, years later, she has returned to reclaim her place as the rightful ruler of an empire lost to history. The revelation sends shockwaves through the fragile alliance. Kalos, who had believed himself to be the last of his people, now learns that his sister has been alive all along, living in the shadows, waiting for the right moment to return. The emotional toll is immense. Kalos must reconcile his grief and guilt over her presumed death with the truth of her survival. And as the two siblings come face to face, the weight of their shared past threatens to undo everything they fought for. In this moment of revelation, Selene's true intentions come into question. Is she here to help save Egypt, or does she have her own agenda, to use Egypt's fall to rebuild her empire, at the cost of all that remains? Rameses, torn between trust and suspicion, must now decide whether this woman, whose bloodline holds the key to their survival, is the savior Egypt has been waiting for, or another threat they can't afford to ignore. 7. The false savior. As the Sea Peoples close in on Egypt's borders, the world seems on the verge of collapse. Rameses III, Selene, and their allies brace for the final assault, knowing that if they fail, Egypt will fall. The great walls of their once glorious empire tremble under the pressure of relentless invaders. The fate of an entire civilization hangs by a thread. But just as the Sea Peoples prepare to breach the defenses, something inexplicable happens. A storm, unlike any seen before, suddenly sweeps across the battlefield. Dark clouds gather overhead, churning ominously as flashes of lightning crackle through the sky. The winds howl like the voices of the gods themselves, sending the sea people's ships crashing into one another, their warriors retreating in fear and confusion. The violent winds tear through their ranks, driving them back from the shores of Egypt. The skies roar with fury, and the earth trembles beneath their feet. To the people of Egypt, it is a miracle. They cheer, praising the gods for intervening and saving them from certain destruction. Rameses, his heart swelling with a mixture of relief and awe, sees this as a divine sign, proof that the gods have not forsaken Egypt, that their victory has been earned through righteousness and the favor of the heavens. The citizens, their spirits lifted, believe the war is over, that Egypt has been spared by divine hands. But the truth is far darker than any divine intervention. Ilara, who has been carefully studying the movements of the storm and the behavior of the sea peoples, begins to suspect something unnatural about the event. Her heart sinks as she realizes the storm was no act of the gods, but the result of a carefully orchestrated weapon, a weapon of her father's design. Ilara's father, once thought to be a simple scholar, had secretly aligned himself with a group of ancient, powerful scholars and scientists, men who sought to manipulate the fate of the world itself. This secret cabal had been working for years to harness the hidden forces of nature, developing technology that could control the weather and the elements. The storm that had driven the sea peoples away was not a gift from the gods, but a man-made weapon. One that Ilara's father had devised to tilt the balance of power in his favor. As the sea peoples retreat, Ilara uncovers a horrifying truth: her father, once the beacon of her ideals, had been manipulating events all along. He had used the threat of the sea peoples to consolidate his influence, and now, with the invaders vanquished, he plans to seize control of Egypt's destiny. The weapon he had unleashed was merely the first step. The power to control the fate of empires was in his hands, and now, with Egypt's survival secured, he intends to reshape the world according to his own vision, a vision that Ilara knows will bring even greater destruction in the long run. Ilara's heart breaks as she realizes her father's true intentions. The man she had trusted, the man whose knowledge she had admired, was not a savior. He was a puppet master, pulling the strings of history to serve his own dark ambitions. Now, with Egypt under his sway, he will stop at nothing to ensure that his vision of the future is realized, no matter the cost. With the sea peoples retreating and Egypt's immediate survival secured, Ilara must decide how to expose the truth behind the false miracle and prevent her father's machinations from destroying everything she holds dear. But as her father's influence grows, Ilara realizes that her fight for the future of Egypt has just begun, and the stakes are higher than ever before. 8. The Shattered Alliance. The fragile alliance between Egypt and the sea peoples begins to fracture as the weight of ancient secrets rises to the surface. Both sides, once united in their shared struggle against a greater enemy, now face a revelation that shakes the very foundation of their pact. As the remnants of their shared past come into focus, the trust between them begins to unravel. For the sea peoples, the truth that has haunted them for centuries finally comes to light. Their homeland, once a thriving and prosperous civilization, did not fall due to the whims of nature or a cosmic catastrophe. No, it was a betrayal from within, a betrayal so profound that it shattered the very heart of their people. Long buried in the depths of their memories, a dark tale emerges: an ancient god of the sea, once revered and worshipped as a protector, turned against them. This god, a being of immense power, had once been their greatest ally, guarding them from the forces that sought to destroy them. But in a twisted act of vengeance, the god betrayed them, unleashing chaos upon their land. The god's wrath tore through their cities, sending massive waves to drown their shores, summoning violent storms that obliterated their homes, and releasing creatures from the depths that ravaged their people. The sea people's world was brought to ruin by their most sacred deity, an event that pushed them to flee into the unknown. The sea peoples, once proud and united under the protection of their god, were now refugees, scattered across the seas, haunted by the memories of the betrayal that destroyed everything they held dear. As this truth is revealed to the Egyptians, the bond that had begun to form between the two peoples begins to crumble. The sea peoples, once seen as invaders, are now understood to be victims of a tragedy far greater than anyone could have imagined. Yet, this new understanding does little to heal the wounds of the past. For Egypt, the revelation forces them to confront their own role in the destruction of the sea people's civilization. Had their ancestors' greed and thirst for power contributed to the rise of the sea god's wrath? And what of the divine forces at play in Egypt itself? Could the gods of Egypt, too, be capable of betrayal? The leaders of both sides, Rameses, Selene, and Kalos, are left to grapple with the enormity of their shared history. The weight of these truths threatens to destroy any chance of unity. Can Egypt and the sea peoples rebuild their alliance, or will the echoes of betrayal, the deep scars of their past, be too great to overcome? The ghosts of their shared history loom large, and the tension between them reaches a breaking point. As old wounds are reopened, the question becomes inevitable: will the alliance hold, or will history repeat itself, plunging both Egypt and the Sea Peoples into an even greater war, one that could tear both nations apart for good? In a world where trust is a rare and fragile commodity, the answer may lie not in the hearts of the leaders, but in the hands of those who are left to carry the burden of the past. The ultimate test of their alliance will come when they are forced to confront not only the betrayal of gods but the very choices they must make to avoid another devastating conflict. 9. The final stand. The tension is unbearable as Egypt and the Sea Peoples, once bitter enemies and now uneasy allies, prepare for the ultimate battle. The fate of their civilizations hangs in the balance, but above them, a far more ominous threat looms. The celestial alignment, the moment foretold by the ancient prophecies, is nearly upon them. As the stars and planets shift into their fated positions, a strange energy fills the air, thick with the promise of either total destruction or an unimaginable rebirth. The world seems poised at the edge of an abyss, and only one thing is certain: everything will change. The ancient rituals and lost knowledge that Alara has uncovered have brought her to this moment. She knows that the alignment can either usher in the destruction of the world or, through the completion of a long-forgotten ritual, bring about a new age of peace. But the ritual is fraught with danger. It requires the power of those chosen by fate to activate it, and Alara understands that once it is triggered, there will be no turning back. To stop the alignment is to risk everything, including her own life, but to let it happen could mean the end of everything she holds dear. As Alara faces the unbearable choice, Kalos, standing beside her, reveals a truth that shatters the fragile hope they have been holding on to. The ritual cannot be completed by both of them, it can only be fulfilled if one of them dies. The ancient prophecies, written in the very same texts Alara had deciphered, speak of this ultimate sacrifice. One life must be given to set the balance right, to bring the world back from the brink of annihilation. Kalos, his eyes filled with sorrow and resolve, looks at Alara, the weight of his words sinking in like a stone in her heart. "The choice is yours," he says quietly. "I would give my life without hesitation, but I will not ask it of you. You have already carried the burden of so many secrets. Let me carry this one for you." But Alara's heart is torn. The love she has come to feel for Kalos is powerful. Unlike anything she had ever imagined, born from shared pain and a bond forged in the fire of war. She sees the sacrifice in his eyes, a man who has lost everything and is now willing to give the ultimate price to save the world. And yet, the thought of losing him, the one person who has helped her make sense of the chaos surrounding them, is unbearable. As the celestial alignment draws closer and the stars begin to shift into their destined places, the final battle begins. The air crackles with tension as Rameses leads Egypt's forces, and Kalos commands his people. They fight side by side, but the true battle is within Alara. The ritual's power calls to her, the ancient energies thrumming beneath her skin, urging her to act. The battlefield is deafening, the cries of the warriors, the clash of weapons, and the roar of the winds blending into a single chaotic symphony. But in the eye of the storm, Alara makes her choice. With trembling hands, she steps forward, ready to trigger the ritual, knowing that the cost will be high. And in that final, heart-stopping moment, when the fate of the world rests on a single, fateful act, Kalos makes the sacrifice that will seal their destinies. In a moment of perfect clarity, Alara realizes that true love does not mean saving someone from sacrifice, it means standing by their side, even in the face of death. As Kalos falls, the ritual activates, and the world holds its breath. The celestial alignment reaches its zenith, and the skies, once dark with impending doom, begin to shift into a new dawn. The earth trembles, but this time, it is not the tremor of destruction, it is the pulse of rebirth. The world is not ending, it is being remade. In the aftermath, as the dust settles, Alara stands alone. The price of saving the world has been paid, but it is a price she will carry forever. The alliance between the Sea Peoples and Egypt remains, fragile but unbroken. And though Kalos is gone, his sacrifice will live on in the new world that rises from the ashes of the old. The fate of all has been rewritten, but at a cost, one that will echo through history, a reminder of love, sacrifice, and the power of destiny. 10. The shocking finale. The air is thick with the weight of the world's fate as Alara, her heart heavy with the sacrifices made, unravels the final pieces of the mystery that has haunted them all. The Sea Peoples, those once thought to be conquerors, the harbingers of doom, were never the agents of destruction. In a stunning revelation, Alara uncovers the true purpose of their mission. They had come not to destroy, but to stop an ancient prophecy from being fulfilled, a prophecy that could have erased the very fabric of time itself. The celestial alignment, which had caused so much fear and confusion, was never meant to signal the end of the world, it was the final stage of an ancient cycle. This event, foretold by the gods, had been set in motion eons ago, with the power to end one era and begin another. The Sea Peoples, those mysterious refugees, had known of this prophecy and had made it their life's mission to prevent the alignment from achieving its full potential. But they had been too late, unable to stop the cosmic forces that were now pushing the world toward the brink of annihilation. In the final moments, as the skies crackle with the energy of the alignment, Elara and Kalos stand at the precipice of a world-shattering decision. The ritual, which they had believed would save them, was not the answer. It had only been a piece of the puzzle, a means of awakening the full power of the alignment. Elara realizes that to truly stop the prophecy from coming true, she must destroy the celestial forces at their core, severing the link that binds the world to the alignment. But there is one cost. The ritual can only be stopped by the ultimate sacrifice, by the death of both her and Kalos. Their lives, intertwined through love and sacrifice, are the key to unlocking the power needed to prevent the alignment. As they face the overwhelming reality of what is required, neither can turn away from the responsibility that has fallen upon them. Their hearts are heavy, but their resolve is absolute. In a final, heart-wrenching moment, Elara and Kalos make the decision together. They stand side by side, their hands clasped, as they trigger the ritual that will sever the cosmic connection and stop the alignment from unfolding. The world trembles, the skies pulse with raw energy, and as the ritual reaches its climax, both of them fall, their sacrifice echoing through the very fabric of existence. The celestial alignment shatters, and the world is held in a fleeting moment of silence. Then, a new world is born. The skies clear, the winds cease, and the energy that once threatened to destroy everything is now transformed into something new, something hopeful. But at what cost? As the dust settles, and the surviving Sea Peoples, those who had once been scattered and broken, fade into myth, a shocking revelation stirs. The real enemy was never the Sea Peoples, nor was it even the celestial forces that threatened to destroy the world. It was something much older, something far more insidious. The gods themselves, those eternal beings who had watched over humanity for millennia, had been the true architects of this destruction. They had set the stage for this cosmic event to unfold, watching as the world teetered on the edge of annihilation, not out of malice, but for reasons that remain as mysterious as the gods themselves. Elara and Kalos's sacrifices had saved the world, but the question remains, why did the gods allow this to happen in the first place? Were they simply indifferent, or was there a deeper purpose behind their silent gaze? The surviving world, now changed and reborn, is left with a haunting truth. The true enemy was never a force they could fight, but a fate they could never fully understand. As the Sea People's story fades into legend, their journey becomes a reminder that even the most mysterious and misunderstood forces may have played a part in shaping the world. And in the silence that follows, one thing is certain. The gods still watch, and their reasons remain unknown, leaving humanity to wonder what the future will truly hold.